Throughout Demon Slayer, Tanjiro's primary goal is to turn his sister, Nezuko, from a demon back into a human. Although it was considered impossible at first, the idea of what is possible and what isn't began to shift after Nezuko conquered the sun. Before Muzan could eat Nezuko and acquire her immunity, Lady Tamayo and insect Hashira Shinobu Kocho created a drug using Wisteria that could turn demons back into humans, since demons were weak to Wisteria flowers. However, as this story neared its end, the tables turned. Nezuko was human again, and Tanjiro had almost defeated Muzan when a dying Muzan passed the last of him to Tanjiro to achieve his dreams through the boy. In the process, Tanjiro became the new Demon King, and a now human Nezuko rushed to her demon brother, hoping to help him regain his humanity. But why was Tanjiro made the next Demon King? What advantages did he possess over Muzan? And how was the situation solved? We're going to explore all of that and more in this video. But before we get into the content, we'd like to make a very small request to our viewers. Please subscribe to our channel, like and comment on our videos, and press the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content. We'd be grateful to you, and we hope to bring you the best nerdy content in the future. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. How did Tanjiro become the next Demon King? Tanjiro's transformation is deeply tied into Muzan's psyche and, obviously, his defeat. Because it was impossible to defeat Muzan using standard tricks such as decapitation, he had to be poisoned, weakened, and stalled by the Demon Slayers until sunrise. By the end of the battle, everyone had been put out of commission by the Demon King, barring Tanjiro himself, who performed the Hinokami Kagura, besting his technique with the information he acquired from the memories he inherited from Yoichi. Eventually, the plan proved a success, and the sun began to rise, subsequently leading to Muzan being reduced to dust. Now, Muzan can turn a human into a demon by injecting them with his blood. The higher the dosage, the stronger the demon. While on the verge of death, he ended up injecting all of himself into Tanjiro, making him the next Demon King following Muzan's death. The thing about Muzan is he was thanatophobic to the extreme, which means he was terrified of death. His heart had stopped multiple times while his mother was pregnant with him. He was then a stillborn baby who unleashed his first cries right before being buried. He struggled with a frail body throughout his childhood and was told that he wouldn't live past 20. All the near-death experiences contributed to his fear of death. He eventually became a demon after consuming a medicine made with the blue spider lily, following which he became obsessed with conquering the sunlight to truly become immortal and never have to fear death again. The Demon Slayers continued to be a hindrance to Muzan's path, so apart from becoming immune to the sun, he always wanted to destroy the Demon Slayers. The story is also big on the concept of inherited memories, which is how Tanjiro learns about the progenitor of the sun-breathing technique, Yoichi, and manages to hone his forms of sun-breathing. This becomes a lot more literal and less metaphysical after Muzan transfers his blood and cells into Tanjiro, with the latter being made to acquire all of Muzan's wishes and emotions, and with that, Muzan's desire to live forever and destroy the Demon Slayer core once and for all. Although Muzan did not wish to die and leave the job to someone else, he would rather his memories live on within Tanjiro, who would accomplish what he so desperately wanted, than ceasing to exist as a whole. Naturally, the transformed Tanjiro started off by attacking the Demon Slayers around him. Why did Muzan make him the Demon King? Like we mentioned, Muzan needed his memories to live on because that way he could stay on his journey of accomplishing his dreams. But the reason why Tanjiro would be able to do what Muzan failed to was due to Nezuko having conquered the sun as the only demon ever to do so. Muzan believed that since Tanjiro was of the same blood as Nezuko and could use the sun-breathing technique, he would become the next Demon King, who would be immune to the sun, and with Muzan's memories and emotions living with him, he would be able to achieve what he desired. As a matter of fact, the Komodos having access to Yoichi's sun-breathing was precisely why Muzan had slaughtered Tanjiro's family. His true intention was to turn them into demons, so he injected his blood into them. He believed that access to sun-breathing would allow them to develop an immunity to the sun, following which Muzan would consume the sun-resistant demon and gain that ability. However, he also needed them to be strong enough for that, so the Komodos were given a lethal dose of his blood, which, barring Nezuko, no one could survive. And this connection to sun-breathing was partially the reason Nezuko eventually conquered the sun. At the same time, the story boasts a fictional flower called the blue spider lily, the consumption of which turned Muzan into a demon. He began to search for it after he realized that consuming it once more would make him capable of walking under the sun, but the catch was that the flower only grew twice or thrice a year while the sun was out, so no demon, no matter their strength, was going to be able to find it. At the same time, it grew in the mountains and was occasionally found around the Komodo household. Both Nezuko and Tanjiro were fed soup cooked with the blue spider lily when they were sick, which is the other reason behind Nezuko being able to conquer the sun as a demon. The same is applicable for Tanjiro, who managed to become the Demon King without a weakness for sunlight. How did Tanjiro become human again? So after becoming the Demon King, Tanjiro began to attack the demon slayers around him. The water Hashira, Giyu Tomioka, was nearby, and he realized that Tanjiro had to be slain. However, with him conquering the sun, he was practically invincible, and could never be defeated in his demon form. Turning him into a human once again was the only option, and at this point, Shinobu Kocho, the insect Hashira, and Lady Tamayo had created antidotes that could turn demons back into humans, which is how Nezuko had been reverted. The human Nezuko approached Tanjiro and hugged him, trying to appeal to his humanity, while Zenitsu and Inosuke were having a hard time with their friend who had become a monster. However, the plan failed, and Tanjiro began to claw at Nezuko, injuring her to everyone's surprise. He even bit her, which gave him his first taste of blood and allowed him to unleash his bone and flesh-like appendages similar to the ones possessed by Muzan. Zenitsu and Inosuke are not capable of hurting him because A, they weren't strong enough, and B, they couldn't bring themselves to do it. They try to appeal to him, but as they mentioned, it keeps failing. With Tanjiro being immune to the sun, Nichiren blades also become useless since the blade is lethal against demons due to its sun absorption abilities. Nezuko takes another shot as she holds him while he's bleeding. Naturally, the demonic Tanjiro tries to hurt her, but his attack also misses precisely because the human in him is resisting and trying to stop him from hurting his sister. This becomes a ray of hope for everyone. Soon after, Kano Kocho arrives at the scene, partially blind after using Equinoctial Vermilion Eye against Doma, which is the final form of her flower-breathing technique that allows her to perceive the world around her in slow motion. She has the final remaining vial of the concoction that can turn a demon back into a human. Shinobu Kocho had created 3 vials of the concoction using Wisteria flowers. One was used on Nezuko, one to weaken Muzan, and one was a spare. Previously, Kano thought that the third was an extra, but upon seeing Tanjiro, she realized that it existed for this very moment, and she had to be the person who would help Tanjiro become human again. Her Equinoctial Vermilion Eye attack had yet to blind her completely, so she used it again, as she wouldn't be able to keep up with the Demon King Tanjiro's speed without it. The other term for the form would be Scarlet Spider Lily Eyes, which is symbolic as the blue spider lily flower is used to turn a human into a demon, while the Scarlet Spider Lily attack is being used to turn a demon back into a human. Using this form, Kano manages to reach Tanjiro and inject the vial into his system. Meanwhile, Tanjiro has a dialogue with Muzan within himself. Tanjiro wants to go back to the others, but Muzan tries to brainwash him against it. He tells him how it would be pointless as everyone, including Nezuko, is dead since Tanjiro inherited Muzan's will. However, Tanjiro refuses to believe that Nezuko is no more. Muzan thinks it's foolish of Tanjiro to latch onto his past, while Tanjiro cherishes the memories of his life. He wants nothing to do with the boundless existence Muzan desires, but instead wants to be human and lead a human life. During this dialogue, Tanjiro soon gets the scent of Wisteria flowers as Kano injects the drug into him, and he is gradually brought back to his original state as a human. Marvelous verdict. Tanjiro's experience with this final transformation following the final battle has some pros. It allows our protagonist to survive the dangerous battle without permanent consequences. His face had been disfigured due to Muzan's flesh manipulation abilities during the battle, and the alteration to demonhood and back to human allowed him to revert back to his original face, which works for a battle shonen aimed at younger audiences because you really don't want the kids to see the protagonist get horribly disfigured since a happy ending is necessary in such a format. That aside, the demonification also wraps up Muzan's desperate character perfectly, contrasting it against that of Tanjiro's, who understands the value of life, mortality, and death, while Muzan has none of that. With this, today's video comes to an end. What were your thoughts on Demon King Tanjiro? Was it a successful end to the series? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. We want to see them. This is Wheezy249 signing off. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there and have a marvelous day.